Okay, welcome back to the CQQC podcast. This is Bryan. Gabe is unfortunately not with us today, so I am taking over with Nate. And because we are useless Quaffle players, we're going to turn most of the conversation over to beaters. So we're joined with 3 beaters today to discuss basically the beater awards. So we wanted to recognize some of the players in our league. This episode is specifically for Eastern Canada. And look at how their skills and how they're developing really as players and how they could be the future best beaters in Canada and what skills they provide. So just quick introductions. We have Shaggy. Hello.
Hello.
Second time on the podcast.
Second, actually, this is our first time having 3 returning guests as far as so. You guys are all veterans. I trust you guys to take over and do everything perfect.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, no standards there. So we have Shaggy, we have Zac MacDonald, and we have Sam McCaul. Hello. No bright red, orange wall behind you this time, Sam?
No, I don't live in that house anymore.
Where do you live?
Disappointing.
I mean,
let's not.
I mean, that's my parents' house. That's my bedroom at my parents' house. But I live in Aurelia for the most time now.
Okay, perfect. No need to dox yourself, Sam. We don't. Let's not give out any. Yeah, it's like give out private information on the internet.
Oh yeah, my address is. I mean, if you want to send gifts.
So starting off, like you saw in our previous episode with Keeper Awards, what we're doing is splitting up the different aspects of beating into categories and discussing each of these and recognizing players for those. So we've broken the game into 8 different categories. So the first is accuracy, so how well players and beaters are able to throw their bludgers and actually hit the areas where they want. Not necessarily even just making sure they make their beats, but making sure they can get beats on the back or legs or wherever they can that provides good bounce back to them so they can control their bludgers. Best range, so making sure they can hit players not just from 6 feet in front of them, but 12 feet, 18 feet, and get reliable beats. Bludger control, so making sure they can maintain the ball when it bounces off, or they can make sure that no opposing beaters just stealing it off them at inopportune times. Catching, so if they can keep themselves alive and not be knocked out of play, that's obviously a bonus, and catching is basically the way to do that. Following that, we have best tactics and synergy. The game and beating, which you 3 all know, isn't just broken down by how well you work alone, but it's how you use your beater partner and how well you work with the rest of your Quaffle players to achieve your objective. And then our last 3 categories are best one-on-one, so how you play against like a beater alone if need be. Best seeker beating, so when the snitch is on pitch and how you can maintain control there. And the best chaser beating, which me and Nate actually might have some ideas for if need be, because who actually annoys us when we have to play you guys, or who you find controls chaser play when you guys are on the field. So we're going to start it off. So, Shaggy, do you want to take the most accurate award or accuracy idea right off the bat?
No, I will defer right now.
So we're only doing people from the last 2 seasons, right?
Yes. So to clarify, we're going to stick to the last 2 seasons just to kind of keep everything recent. There's a ton of great players throughout the history of QC in the East and in the West. But for simplicity's sake and recency bias and how the game has been changing over years, we're just going to keep it to the last 2 years. So this is the season that was cut off by COVID and the season prior to that.
Okay.
Can we, Bryan, mix in maybe a little disclaimer? Just saying, like, these are all opinions. These are not, like, necessarily,
And they might not be studied opinions. I did no preparation for this.
Oh, wow.
And we don't get, like, equal opportunity to see everyone,
Yeah.
We play
There's only so many.
people.
There's only so many games that we can go back and rewatch for that to to do that. So some of the more successful teams, like gold medal games, are going to you're going to see more of the same teams, but we're going to try to keep it a little bit more even.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, please don't come after these people. They're coming onto our podcast quite graciously with their knowledge and opinions, and they're just trying to provide some entertainment for us all. So, yeah, purely opinions. And any of you want to take it away for who do you think has a great job at being accurate?
If you think that we missed you on our list, come out and
leave a comment.
Leave a comment below.
Leave a comment. Come to our houses.
Help CQQC podcast with the algorithm.
And this is why we have veteran guests on who do the promoting for us, and we don't actually have to do anything now.
Look at that.
Who is the most?
Sam, if you're ready, you can go, but I can take it off. I have one written.
No, you can start, Zach. You can go.
Okay. So for accuracy, I chose a player who I felt is really precise, and I kind of quantified like precision as someone who, hits a lot of their beats, but also hits parts of the body that aren't going to yield big rebounds and kind of have them chasing the ball after. And a player who didn't play this past season, but who I thought was really, really accurate was Rachel Fabry.
Rachel!
Yeah, a player who I got to play with for a few shifts in Pan Am's and play against a lot, not this past season, but the one before it. And it was never fun because when Rachel threw, you knew it was gonna be a beat that you had to make a good dodge, make a good block, or something, because it was probably gonna hit you.
Awesome. Shaggy, Sam, which one wants to go next?
Well, I got one, but it's for a different reason. I'm gonna throw in from you, Ottawa. I'm trying to spread the love towards like more of the rebuilding teams around the Montreal and Ottawa regions. So I'm gonna throw one to David Rochon in there, because he constantly face beats and always gets the phase beats on that point. Well, I'm not looking at control on that point, but if he wants to hit you in the face, he's going to hit you in the face, and yeah, that's pretty accurate in my book.
Reminds me of a young Zac MacDonald.
Yeah.
Oh my God, early years of Zac.
As much as I frowned on that style of play for face beating, I mean, it's still legal. So.
It's effective when someone's pissing you off.
That tilting, see? That's good control of emotions. That's theater play.
My attitude is always, if you're going to give it out, you better take it. So,
oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be mad if you face beat and then get face beat. Okay, who do I think? I have two ideas. I think I really like Ethan Peters from Queens. Having seen him over his entire career of Quidditch, I know he's really good at long beats as well as short beats, and long beats are a very important skill that not a lot of people have. And having that accuracy in long beats is definitely helpful, and he is very good at that. And then I also find that Chaisson from Valhalla is pretty accurate. He doesn't get the long beats as much, but I find he usually does the beats from mid short range, and especially where on the body he wants to go. Find that gets those pretty well. I've also played with both those people, so I'm sure there's people I'm missing that I haven't played with or haven't seen as much.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, honestly, great picks all around. And I think that what that shows there, like all three of you had kind of different reasons on how you saw what like accuracy is, and that's how complex beating is. It's not just grabbing a quaffle and running through people. You guys have a lot to consider in many different ways on how you want to play and what you want to do. Cool.
Sure.
So let's move on. So range. So best range. You could say the most powerful arm. That's not always the most important thing with beating. You could have a great arm and be really strong, but if you're not hitting where you're supposed to, or if you're not kind of controlling where you're going, it's kind of useless. But if you can get a reliable beat from farther away, obviously that's super important, and can obviously kind of scare off chasers or scare off beaters from approaching a certain angle. So who wants to go first for best range? or best arm strength, however you want to define it.
So Zach went first. So Sam, you or I?
You can start.
Okay.
I would graciously give you a start on this one.
Graciously defer.
The strongest arm on that point?
Sure.
I'm going to go with Heather on that one. Heather Nagasaki from Carleton on that point.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just the first time she came out to Black Bears tryouts and just like, okay, let's see how you throw. She's like barely 5 foot tall, but she could throw that ball.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she has great accuracy too.
She has an arm on her. It just constantly surprises me on that point. Whenever I see her throw, it's just, okay, she can make a beat from half court. Sure. Okay. Awesome. That's exactly what we want. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my pick right there. Do you want me to go on?
No, that's great.
Just gonna be me. That's just going to be me gushing over Heather and just her playing. Okay. So.
Absolutely. Zach or Sam?
I can go. Let's see. Again, I didn't prep for this, so I don't have a list ready. Sorry, things to do. Sleep to have. Who? I mean, you can't argue that Devin has an arm that will murder you.
Yes, I can.
I mean, anyone who throws baseball, yes.
Yes, we've all experienced it. We all have bruises from it.
Yep.
And he can be pretty accurate sometimes too. And his arm is a killer for sure. Found when I played against Felicity, if you remember Felicity from Valhalla.
Yeah, she was my first beater partner way back in 2013.
Back in the day.
She
had a pretty good arm.
Yeah.
She definitely put a lot of force behind her beats, I would think.
When I always think, whenever you guys say Devin for stuff, I always think he is obviously with his baseball background and I think he did pitching, right? I can't remember.
He was a pitcher,
Yeah. He reminds me of a tower on the friggin' battlefield where he'll just you could plant him right in the middle and it's like, you want to come into range, come right ahead. Like you're gonna get hit real hard if you come within my little circle of danger. And
it's scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Devin's got an absolute cannon. I think in terms of pure miles per hour, if we took a radar gun, he would probably top the field for sure. But something that really for me I factored in was kind of range and use of arm, and I think that for me that's partially choosing when to make a big throw and when to sort of close the distance with your feet. I think that's really important. So someone who I think has a lot of range, is accurate at that range, but also makes good decisions on when to throw at range and when to kind of hang on and pressure by moving their feet is John Gola.
Mm-hmm.
I think that John really makes smart decisions of when to throw. When the ball's in the air, he'll make a long beat to kind of get before a chaser's able to catch it. And I think that is a really, really something that's unique about Gola's game that makes use of a lot of good long beats.
I think you could also factor in the fact that his long arms and long legs already gives him a head start advantage right off the bat.
I know.
A couple steps he's at half.
He throws.
Here's all the way back there.
His
physics, that's momentum for you. That's rotational momentum.
Oh yeah, absolutely. His range has started and the ball hasn't even left his hand.
That's angular velocity.
Just puts it out there. But yeah, no. Physics. Great picks. Next on up, we're gonna go with bludger control. So obviously you guys understand the importance of bludger control. I guess in this thing we're gonna look at two different sides of it, or you can look at two different sides of it. It's how well you actually control the bludger when you have it with your partner, and how well you can maintain having two bludgers against the opponents, or how well you control the bludgers when you're making tap beats or using that bludger to kind of control the field. Obviously, if you're going into accuracy and range and making risky decisions, or you're just kind of throwing it wherever, that's not really going to be as helpful as making sure you're making the smart beats and smart tap beats where necessary. But whoever wants to take it away can go on ahead.
Sam, you haven't gone first yet.
Well, untold.
Fine. Can't read some of these names. Oh, that's what it says. Okay. What was the question again?
So it's like
Bludger control.
best Bludger, best
Calling for
Bludger.
time, good tactic.
I swear I know what I'm doing when I beat. I just didn't have time. Right. Bludger control. If we're allowed to pick people in this podcast, I would say Zac.
Sure.
Having played with him.
Yeah,
I'm
just avoiding saying Zac for all the things. On
I
the
know, but like,
No,
Zac
absolutely
pops
not.
into my mind for this one just because there's a lot of people who are very good at keeping the ball, but it's because they don't throw it, right? And knowing when is an important time to throw the ball is a part of Bludger control. Like even if you lose it, you can get it back. But Bludger control isn't the be all end all of the game.
Yeah.
So obviously having it is better, but you need to be able to throw it to use the ball and actually do something. And I find Zac is very good at figuring out this is the best time to throw it. This is a good and things like that.
Risk reward.
Yeah.
And the reward is usually high.
Usually. Who else? I know there's definitely a lot of the new rookies on Queens, like having talked to the execs on or the vets on Queens, have done really well in a lot of things. I just can't remember. I should have talked to them before this podcast because I watched their games a few times, and they like after 1 year of playing, they just did so well, and I wish I could call out certain people. I just didn't do my
Bryan and I
homework.
got to practice with the Queens teams, a lot of their rookies.
Yeah.
And they definitely are good at sort of controlling their bludgers and making good decisions with them.
All right. Cool.
Ironically enough, for my pick, I chose Sam.
Oh.
So I think that's kind of funny.
Sam guessed?
Sam? Yeah. No, you, Sam.
Me, Sam. Oh, wow. Okay.
I chose Sam because I think Sam makes really good decisions with the bludger, rarely loses battles. I mean, that kind of goes with one-on-one, but Sam's good at kind of battling out, very tenacious in terms of like never giving up on a bludger and retaining it, but also great at like bludger control in the sense of like great at blocking, fairly good at catching, and has a good arm, is accurate, and good rebound. So I think all comprised like that comes into a lot of like control of the bludger, retention, and is like in command when in possession of bludger.
Aw. I feel so special. This is why we make great partners, you know. I'll wait till 2022 to actually play, but you know.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
We'll tear up the practice pitch before then, hopefully.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pick Sam Guest.
Oh.
There you go.
So that now all the Sams get love at that point. I just remember Black Bears when I last saw him play. This again, 2018, so it's still in the cusp, still in the 2 years.
I'll
And
give
I'm
you.
sure he played in New Zealand. He's coming back now. But I just remember when he was playing with Rachel, how they would really control the field, work well together, and there was just I feel like I'm cheating on the bit of like synergy because I have like 4 answers for that right now on that point. But he definitely knew how to control the field. And one person, again, I said I would focus more on the Ottawa side and such, but I'm gonna pick one name from Valhalla. I'm gonna pick Sugar on this. I like Sugar's just. I feel like in the list of big names that are there, Sugar just doesn't get mentioned more than he should at that point. I always had trouble against him beating on that point. That's just be my own bias on that point.
He's a very smart player. Very smart.
Yeah, which I feel beating is like 80% mental.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Sugar knows the game.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying not to go which is Zac on everything. So
I think Sugar's a really good choice because Sugar does a lot of things really well and has a really diverse skill set.
The thing is, like, I don't feel Sugar plays a like flashy play style, but he does all the small things that you want in a beater that doesn't get noticed as often as like the flashy play.
Yeah, it's because like I feel like people don't mention him as much because he's not like, you know, a huge person who has an extremely hard arm. So it's like, ooh, we always notice the cool like long throw kind of thing, but he's very, very smart. So it's like people don't really notice that right away. But he's very fun to play with.
I'll also say Sugar's probably the most traveled of like QC beaters that I can think of, considering like playing over like he was planning to play, or he played MLQ previously with Rochester. He was planning to do MLQ with Raiders this year, I think, and then he played in QPL in Europe and in Spain.
And
so like
Spain, yeah.
So like he's obviously had a lot of experience picking up stuff from other players and teams. So yeah, those little things.
Also TC practices as well.
TC as well, of course. Awesome. So next category, nice and simple. Best catching. You can throw as many balls as you want. It's not a beat until that ball hits the floor, or unless they have a bludger already. But how do you want to go best catcher or best like ability to make sure that they stay alive?
I can take this one first. There's one player. I mean, there's a lot of players who are really great at catching in Quidditch Canada. There's one player who, before every game, I have to tell players, usually on Guelph Memorial City, that if you're going to throw a ball at this person, you better make sure it's in a spot that's hard to catch, or you just let it rip because we need a big bounce off of a body part, and that's Shaggy. It's like your entire body is made of a sticky substance.
Yeah, I was thinking Shaggy too, but I was like, wait, did he play in the last 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did.
Where is he from this?
The Otters here.
Oh, the Manatees was. Oh, the Otters. No, you're with
The
Manatees.
Otters.
Oh my God, I am. So, oh my
He's
God.
wearing their jersey.
Yes,
Balls
I
fling
thought
to
the
Shaggy.
Manatees was 2017, 2018. Was it only 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Manatees
Manatees
was
was
last year.
his past season.
Past season, like both. It was COVID
2019,
year,
2020.
and then like the year before that was Otters.
Otters championship.
Otters.
Okay, I my brain's frozen. It has been a while since I quidditched.
Damn you, COVID. Damn
Yeah.
you, COVID-19.
When I was constantly in Quidditch, I kept very up to date with many things, and now the last like 7 months, I've been like, whee, going down on what I know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, continue, Zach.
Oh, that was basically it. Just
Oh, okay.
you throw balls and they cling to Shaggy, and then
Yeah.
he clings to them, and then uses them to hit you back. So there's a lot of people who are great at catching. John Gola, Ethan Peters are two names that really come to mind for me.
Stop saying names
Um,
so I can say them.
But sorry, but
We're allowed
but
to agree.
Yeah, we are.
I think Shaggy's the best in that category.
For sure. I was going to say Shaggy as well. I just couldn't remember if he played recently. You said in the chat, you were all like, I haven't played in so long. So I was like, okay.
I mean, none of us.
Well, yeah, I played. I did a practice in the UK just for fun, and I
Oh.
still caught everything they threw at me, and I didn't have cleats.
Take that, British.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, throwing at Shaggy is like so annoying.
Usually not a good decision.
No.
Just
You
just
gotta
run
get
around
the
me.
right
I'm not
spirit.
that good. Just catching is the only thing I got.
So humble.
Just it's the toque, I swear.
It's the source of all your power.
It is. Again, I'm not gonna pick myself on that point because that's just way too much. I was gonna say Gola, but then you said that. I was gonna say Ethan, but then you say
No, you can have those.
It's
I was
true.
just saying those are like honorable mentions for me, but they can be like your
Yeah,
favorite,
I agree with both of those as well.
unless you have another one.
I mean, he retired the same year as I, but still played Otters on that point. Josh was a good catcher. Josh could
Summers?
catch a ball.
Summers.
Yeah. Josh could catch a ball. It's just like you think he's not paying attention, and suddenly just like, oh, I have a ball. Cool.
Ooh, I also Felix, I find,
Felix, yeah. Felix is good. Yeah.
Felix
can catch
Tremblay.
really well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nate, who?
I've thrown some like rockets at Josh, and they just like stick to him. So
Yeah?
yeah.
Nice.
Nate, you have any beaters you recognize or you remember off the top of your head that when trying to get around them, your beaters try to clear and they prevent that off the top of your head?
If it's beyond the past 2 seasons, because I would say Shaggy, but we played on the same team that one year. Beyond that, probably Zac, Sam, basically everyone that's here.
Well,
I feel like
I've
it's
always had trouble like against Sam when she played on Valhalla. Even during like Queen's practices, it'd be hard to like dodge Sam's beats. So
oh,
I always find it doesn't seem like it's the biggest and most important skill of like catching because it's only a small part of the game. But I feel
That's
like
my
it's
entire game. Shut up.
no, but I feel like it's a great indicator of the players who, if they are in that like really good tier or like they have hit that level. I think like the minimum standard of being able to be there is like, hey, you can catch a ball pretty well. Like if you're able to do that, like you're aware of the ball and you can have a good grip and understand like where you got to put your body in position. I feel like a lot of the top beaters in our league do have a great catching like tool for them and are able to stop that.
Catching is definitely important. Like the difference between being able to catch something and then having it bounce off of you could be the difference between like a snitch catch, right?
Absolutely.
It is the easiest way to keep Bludger control or to get it back. So
Yeah, I feel like it's something that you can't always rely on being able to do because it does come down to like the placement of your opponent's feet, but it's something that like completely turns the tide of a beater interaction.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, speaking of turning the tide, one of the most important things with beaters is how you play the game and their tactics and their strategy and how they work like synergetically with their beater partner. So who do you guys can say a pair if you want to, or if you want to say an individual player that really works well with multiple people, feel free. But tactics and kind of synergy and kind of tie it together. You can focus on one part of it or both parts or whatever. But take it ahead.
Can I go first for this one?
Nate, you're up.
Okay.
Oh, Nate.
So playing on Queens, we had a very famous beater pair called Sam Squared of Sam McCaul and Sam Guest. And so they were always great together playing on the pitch during games. They're a very reliable pair. They can really be like game breakers when you need it during games. So I figured that'd be really good. That's a really good pair to have on your team. And then I think you don't make any mistakes when you need like in those intense moments. You can rely on them to get the job done.
Well, thanks, Nate.
No problem.
I miss Sam Squared. The only time I allow someone else to have me with the same name as me.
It doesn't hurt that like the nickname works well in there as well. Like you have a name to it.
Too.
Boom, you're set.
Okay, can we end this whole like once we're done with all this? Can we just say the honorary mentions for best nicknames? Because there's a few for best beating.
Sure.
There's some good nicknames.
Sure.
Yeah.
Keep those in mind. We'll do that as the last
nicknames.
That's chill vibes only.
Yes, that's the chill vibe section only.
Yeah.
You said beaters were taking over this one show, so we're doing it.
Yep. Yeah. Whoever feels free wants to feel free, but I will volunteer otherwise.
Okay, so for tactics and synergy on that point, I have quite a few on that point.
Okay.
Again, like I kind of want to mention David Rochon and Julia. I have her name here, Julia Leconte from U Ottawa. I mean, from what I've seen, they work together with David's more aggressive style, and Julia knows how to control it back and still be a layer of defense on that point. It reminds me a lot of when I used to play with Sophie Tremblay or when Raph used to play with Alex Illing. Just like you can go create control. I have enough support in the back, so we work together best on that point. I also have Heather and Andre Allard from Carleton, where basically Heather's got that throw. Andre's got the speed to match the throw, so no matter what, if they're focusing on you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
On that point. So whenever they want BS, it's that point. But I think just for synergy, I'm gonna be cheap and name the entire McGill squad. I'm gonna be cheap and name the entire McGill squad on that point with like Emil, Alex, Ethan, Kiera. It's so hard to differentiate one beater from the other because you can just keep mixing each of their beater pairs all the time, and I can't tell the difference. They all constantly work so well. They work as a unit.
Mhm.
And I think that's.
And I think
I feel they're really on the up and up.
Yeah, I think like they don't have a lot of like star name recognition in like the current QC meta, I guess you can say what it's currently at.
Mhm.
But I think when you look at that team, they still came in 5th at regionals with a very, very strong performance all the way through. And they don't have any like super old players. They don't have any like crazy veterans or anything like that who have stuck around. But they're still just right there, and they're still just like on the upward like momentum.
And I know I'm probably going to put a knife in the wound, Sam, but when they were against Queens in that 5th place game, I think it's just how it shows how depth can just overtake the star power of like Ethan Peters. Just because Ethan Peters was just going all over the place, but one beater against 6 that are just solid rotation on that point. There's no one line. There's no like line 1, line 2, line 3 for McGill. It really seems like line 1A, line 1B, line 1C. You can switch up any of them. Basically, you take that any day.
Yeah.
That's how it looked to me on that point. Again, I am nitpicking and biased. Oh, I win, bye-bye. But that's how it seemed to me on that point.
Yeah, and Ethan like put in a crazy shift in that game. Like the amount of
He
work.
caught a bludger with his feet.
He caught a bludger with his feet.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He played probably. I don't know how many minutes he played, but it was probably the highest of any individual player on the pitch. And like
This was past regionals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like one. Yeah. Okay.
And in a long game, they just had the depth that like eventually, as athletic and as in shape as Ethan is, you run out of gas.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, he runs super marathons on the side.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was definitely working with a newer crowd, so it was hard that way. But again, the Queens people for a new crowd would definitely.
I'm not dissing the Queens crowd.
I know.
I
just know I'm gonna get flack from my Queens people if I say like, oh yeah, if we are all like Ethan is running everywhere, and then we're like, hey, like, I'm just bringing it up.
Beating comes with experience on that.
Oh, for sure.
I think McGill was just the last couple of years of them beating through CFQC and then McGill A get that experience so that when it comes to that big game, they can rely on so many beaters that come up through that system.
Yeah.
It's depth is definitely very important with beating.
Well, that was my answer on that point. Followed up.
Cool.
And you got one?
Yeah, I have 2. I think it was not the cut short season, but the season before that, when Heather and Jessica Mulvihill played together on Carleton.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought they killed it, and I remember people watching and being like, "Oh my goodness, where did they come from?" Like they're just always like working together. Had Bludger control so much of the time. I remember watching them at regionals, and their back and forth was great. Their Bludger cycling was great, and that whole tournament, it was just amazing to watch them work together. I really thought they are a good pair. And then as well, bringing it back, this is a pair that they have both played recently, but not recently together. Does that count? Can I?
Sure.
Say that? Rachel and Ethan. So Rachel Fabry, Ethan Peters. They started out together when Ethan first started playing. Rachel was his main beater partner, and the two of them worked really well together because Ethan's style is very aggressive. He goes up. He can run and do a bunch of things, and Rachel was very good at reining him in when she needed to. And their pair worked really, really well together. I think they would be pretty cool to see today.
I feel like Rachel does a great job of like being that balancing force and like being able to be a lockdown defender and just hold everything, like not just like, okay, I'm going to sit at half and make sure everything's fine. Like she knows when to step up and knows when to support and knows when to control. Like she worked with Christos in the Otters Nationals run when he was like really beating consistently for the first time, and like having to rein Christos in as a very aggressive player and aggressive beater who's still kind of learning some tactics. She did a great job, not just like okay, I'm going to balance you out, but I'm going to support you on how you're going to do things and make sure you're not overstepping. And I think that's a great part of the synergy that she does with all the players and beaters that she works with.
So am I up?
Yeah.
So I obviously all the pairs that you guys have mentioned are like I imagine practice together a lot, work really hard together. And one pair that I think really has exceptional synergy, and they've often said to me that on the pitch they share one brain cell, and that is Naomi Goddard and Ryan Bavency on Royal City. They both work really together. They fill the sort of roles that are required of them and support each other really well to retain Bludgers, and they're a big part of logging a lot of minutes for Royal City and that team's sort of emerging success. And I do agree with them in terms of that they I think they just share one brain, and they sort of are always aware of what each other are thinking, and able to work together and achieve retaining Bludger control, creating space for their chasers, and doing all that in unison. I think they work really well together.
Awesome.
Not going to mention your beater partner. Okay, Zach.
I think Kaylin's the best beater in all of Canada, and there's no one that I've ever played on the pitch with that I've no matter how little we've practiced, it's
just naturally there.
It's we've never stopped playing together. It just clicks, and we always know where each other are. So absolutely, Kaylin's the best, the player that I have had the most synergy with, and probably I think the best beater in Canada.
I'm just trying to help you keep good terms on that point for next season.
No, I appreciate that. I didn't write Kaylin down for this one because I wanted to pick a pair, but I do have Kaylin for something else later.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, next one up, we're gonna go with best one-on-one. So if you're a beater, you have to go up against someone while maybe there's a penalty or something else going on, whatever the case. Who do you find is always maybe a thorn in your side, or who always stands out in those one-on-one scenarios? One, two, three. Shaggy.
Well, Bryan, you go
Oh,
first. You
me?
haven't gone first.
Oh, sure. Off the top of my mind, I've always seen it because, like Zach said, honestly, in my opinion, seeing Zach and Kaylin work together, I've seen them just do great things over the last finals, or playing them previous years, or being on with them 2 years prior to that. What stood out to me though is Kaylin, in my mind, despite working amazingly well with Zach and being, honestly, in my opinion as well, one of the top beaters in that kind of upper echelon, that's probably TC worthy for sure. In my mind, she can handle herself completely well, and even as a defender coming down the wing or coming around the hoops or whatever, if I see her in my way, I'm always frustrated. I can always imagine my beaters that I need help with to deal with her are probably frustrated dealing with her, because she knows where that positioning is. She knows where to be. She knows how to cut off your angle. She knows kind of where she's always in an advantageous position compared to you or your beater. So in my mind, she always kind of frustrated me when I had to play against her as a quaffle player, obviously, and trying to get some sort of advantage on her never really seemed to work out in my favor or my team's favor.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think really benefits us as a pair, and it's something that also I find works well when I play with Sam as well, but we're kind of able to trust in each other to handle our own sort of phase of the game. If one of us is being attacked 2-on-1 by the opposing pair, we know that other person is on their own and can confidently shut down that beater attack, and the other one can focus on chasers entirely. And being able to split up defenses like that makes it so much easier. So being able to rely on each other to handle one-on-one situations, and even when I play a little bit more recklessly and I make mistakes, and Kaylin's always there to win a battle and bail me out.
There you
Has
go.
Nathan left us?
No, I think Nathan's just stepped away for a second. But
okay.
No worries.
He's restarting his computer again. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
That being said, Kaylin wasn't my choice for this. I actually chose someone who Shaggy mentioned just a category ago for the synergy, and that's Julia Lecomte on Ottawa.
Oh, yes. Keep saying that.
Julia is someone who I really noticed this year step up for U Ottawa and make a big impact. And she's not someone that they're not someone that I don't know how she identifies with it. They're not someone that I ever want to face off in a one-on-one. Great catching skills, great arm, and really, Ottawa came to our Frothy Broom tournament this past winter, which was the last tournament in the East, and they had a lot of converted beaters. They didn't have a lot of their main beaters they had at regionals, and Julia really carried that beater core and took care of business and made some great plays. There's a Royal City game from regionals where Julia made an exceptional catch and took control of the seeker and the snitch, and then Ottawa caught right after, and that kind of changed the tide of them in range games.
Mm-hmm. Right? Sam or Shaggy, I'm not sure.
Sam.
Okay, sure.
Still stalling.
Yeah, one-on-ones. Just thinking of my experience and who I've been like, next time, like all that kind of stuff. Especially like in practices, doing beater battles and that kind of stuff. Sugar comes to my mind for this one. Again, he has a lot of little tricks up his sleeve that are very helpful. You kind of don't really know what he's thinking all the time because you never know what he's going to do. So
it's mysterious.
Definitely, yeah, he is mysterious. So I feel like sometimes, playing against him, he's pretty good at doing his one-on-ones and winning his battles for sure. And there's definitely times like on the field, if he's by himself and like say his beater partner has a penalty or something like that, he can definitely hold his own against two other beaters for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shaggy.
Okay. I feel I'm trying to just come up with names that aren't like up and comers right now, but it's really hard when I have to play against Raph all the freaking time. It's really hard. My standards is like super high on that.
I think he is they're in anger on all of us.
Yeah, I know. I used to practice with them all the time, and who do you think had to go up against them all the time? I have still bruises probably to this day. Again, it's for the past couple of years.
We all have Raph memories.
Yeah, I have too many. Yeah. So there's so many ways that you can engage in a one-on-one for beating on that point. Like Zac has this grasshopper jump that I absolutely hate. I hate that. Devin's just gonna snipe you out before you even get in range on that point. Mm-hmm. Piot's gonna throw the ball, and while you're busy dodging / blocking that ball, he's already hitting you.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really hard to like say like there's so many different ways to go with a one-on-one on that point. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on like a specific play style on that point. I'm just trying to go through names, but it's really hard to pick one specific one. So I'm just going to say, I don't know, Marc Evrard from the Flamingos, because all of Montreal can be unpredictable at times when it comes to like one-on-one beating at that point, especially because Montreal plays that really run and gun style of like they get the ball, so they're super aggressive on that point. So then you're kind of forced into like a one-on-one to stop that chaser coming in on that point. And and I already have like Fiddix and Louis Shaw coming up on that point, so just tossing that for Flamingo. But it's really hard to say because there's so many different ways that you could play a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like I used to catch, Zac dodges, Sam blocks everything I freaking throw at her. So it's so there's many different ways that you can look at that.
Okay, awesome.
That's very true. Yeah.
So our next category is seeker beating, and we'll try and keep this short because like we could probably talk a whole episode about like the intricacies of it and where some players are awesome at this or some players are great communicating with their seekers. Who stands out in your mind when you have your seeker out in the field and you want your beater to like rather be with you or be out there defending your seeker? Who is someone who really stands out in your minds?
We're all just silent.
So,
I mean, like I'm
there's
like
quite
Sam, go first.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Sam
want
hasn't
to.
gone first in a while. Sam hasn't gone first.
I've gone first every single time. What are you talking about?
No, you haven't. Bryan went first last time.
yeah, I did. Nate, I'm gonna leave this pick to you. Who goes first?
Let's see. Whoever's got an answer, I'll go with Zach. I think he's prepared.
There we go.
So,
I'm going.
I
Okay.
have names.
So this is where I picked Kaylin, my partner for this category. Kaylin is just an exceptionally talented beater overall, and I think, like Shaggy mentioned, there's so many different ways that you can approach a one-on-one, and in secret beating you end up in a lot of like 2-on-2, one-on-one situations, and that's where having like a diverse set of skills and being able to do a lot of stuff, a lot of different things is really great, and also great stamina to stay on the field for like long shifts in secret beating. When it's crunch time in an in-range game and there's no time to run to the sideline and sub, you can't take that risk. Kaylin can hang out there for a long time. Great arm and great at just like taking control of the bludgers and cycling back when there's an exchange to kind of keep control of the snitch, making safe tap beats on seekers, and even making like tough, risky beats on seekers when the need arises. So Kaylin's an absolute monster on secret beating, and I'm glad that I get to play with her in that phase of the game and not against.
awesome.
Okay, so secret beating is definitely where I mentioned before, like the mental game is the highest on that point. I think when it comes to secret beating, actually being able to control the play and the third bludger at that point really, really comes into play. At that point, I feel like I just was so lucky with the people I played with to teach me that. So it's hard. Like I want to keep giving props to some of the newer teams on that who are still doing things well. And I know he played for a couple of seasons as Chaser before, but from what I've heard and from little I've seen on that point, Sean Barros, who's made the transition from Chaser to beating this past season for U Ottawa at that point, has gotten enough knowledge from me and Raph beating the hell out of them at every single practice at that point. And he's always been a smart guy on that point, so he knows how to control the game at that point. Again, he used to do that at a keeping level. Now he's transitioning to a beating level. But even just for like a couple of practices on that point, he still shows a lot of promise on that point, and that is for rookie beating, which is just unheard of on that point, because we all remember when we used to rookie beat. Do you remember that?
Oh God,
none of us like that.
It was so stressful.
So you really have to give props on that point. And again, I keep mentioning just McGill, which is like, yeah, you can throw in any line and they're able to control a play on that point, because again, it comes to like synergy. I kind of also want to toss the name of Courtney Butler in there, because if we're just going to be mentioning beater partners on that, Courtney helped us out a lot in nationals at that point. When I missed a beat, Courtney was reliable to get that. So it's, again, it depends on which aspect you pick. I do want to throw out Sean's name there, because I feel for secret beating, where a lot of the stress can come in with a lot of the mental game being at its highest and being able to control beater play and the snitch at the same time, knowing what you're doing is definitely high up there. And for up and coming, Sean's got that. You can also toss in Mark Monroe in there as well. I keep forgetting if he's playing or not anymore.
Yeah, no worries.
And a lot of the secret beating, like, knowledge, I think, kind of trickled down from that U Ottawa program, Shaggy, when you Raph and
which Sean was a rookie at.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of the knowledge that found its way to the Guelph program for secret beating came through Matt McVeigh's kind of move there. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, but he brought a lot of knowledge and really refined that part of our game.
I do want to mention that Heather and Andre are also doing that for Carleton as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Sam, anyone come to mind?
Me? I'm gonna start with a couple people from Valhalla. First is Tyson. He was my beater partner for last year. Known him for 6 or 7 years now. And yeah, he's very strong seeker beater. Very good at protecting his seeker. And yeah, just I've always have so much like faith and trust, being like, he's on the field, we're good, we're fine. He's definitely good at those like the little fine movements you need in seeker beating, the quick reactions you need. That's really great. I also want to give a shout out to Brittany. She's improved so much over the last like season or so, and especially having to step up as me and her had to interchange, basically go back and forth for shifts. So we had to be out there a lot, and she just definitely stepped up and took that role and was very excited to do it, and definitely improved her game a lot. And yeah, it was awesome to watch. And then on Queens, I want to mention Eric. I know I'm just going to give a little jab to him, but he's injured a lot, so I don't get to see him play a lot, but he definitely knows the game really well, definitely knows seeker beating, can definitely be a strong force in seeker beating, and knows exactly what he's doing on the field. So playing against him, not so fun. So just wanted to give a shout out there for that as well.
Perfect. Awesome. So on to our, I guess, last official category before we'll do any quick beater nickname combos. So best chaser beater. Basically, I just want to go off, like, see if we can get just me and Nate's opinion and you guys as well. Who do you feel really controls the game pre-snitch, just looking at controlling the quaffle and making sure that everything is controlled and everything is locked down both defensively and offensively. So if you want to make sure that there's no problems, Sam with the change of scenery.
Yes.
Yes.
I live with 13 people, so I constantly have to move around to
Jeez.
figure
Are you building
out
your own team?
The McCauls.
Pretty much. No, it's just it's all the other interns in the program I'm in right now. So we live in like a big group house in our own little bubbly quarantine thing.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
There's people everywhere. Trying to find a room to be alone is difficult.
Yeah. But so just any player or any beater you rarely recognize that controls the quaffle game really well. I know just off of like my memories, Sam, you were always a pain in my butt. I know in our first year for me and Zach, we played in a consolation game against you guys, and I remember scoring against you guys like early in the game, and then you basically like I was all young and cocky and full of myself, and you just had a beat to like get me off my broom and head set me back because that's the right play to do. And like
just to be annoying.
I just bit right into it and just knocked the thing to like protect my face, and it was like, oh, that's a card. That was fun. And I was just like, it was the smallest thing of like that. It was a nothing play that just became just a giant bonus to you guys, and I was like, that sucks. That sucked for me so much. Why did I do that? But that's always a memory that I think of. That I was just like, okay, don't let the beaters get to you, Bryan. You can do it. It's okay.
I remember that game so well.
Oh, that was madness. Man. Madness.
How long was that game?
40
minutes.
It
was a 39-minute game.
Yeah.
It felt like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was so long.
It was incredible. Anyways, Nate, any beater that gets on your nerves a lot when you're playing?
So I basically try to avoid being on the pitch with these beaters, just so I have a better chance of scoring goals, just because they're always focused on me, I guess, once I'm on with them. To name a few, I would go with Raph from New Ottawa.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the disclaimer is Raph for everything.
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Yeah.
I'd also agree with Sam when she was playing on Valhalla. I could just never avoid her.
Following you around.
I would also say With Devin, I'm just scared of his beats, so I try to avoid him.
That's very fair.
During the what was it? The Black Bears Raiders little mini series we had going on. We were playing a game, and I was close in range versus Devin. I didn't know he had the bludger, and I just turned and he pelted me right in the chest. I was under my shirt and I was bleeding from my chest. So, so I would definitely say Devin as well. Just intimidation factor of not wanting to be on the pitch with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are a few there.
It definitely messes with your head, the intimidation factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brian, as a coach, are you gonna let Nate play these reverse matchups and hide?
No,
Hide from these
Nate, you're
players?
going in there.
When the games matter, I play like
Yeah,
half the game, so it's all good.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Hey, it's what's it called? Load management.
Yes.
It's load management. Exactly.
Okay, our perspectives too now.
Sure, if you want, just real quick. Any
Okay.
players that you guys just feel really recognize?
I don't want to.
No. Okay.
No?
I'm kidding.
I'm
like, what?
What?
I'm just gonna pitch in a name because again, it's interesting to hear from a chaser standpoint, but I'm a beater. I'm biased and nitpicking. I win. Bye bye. I'm gonna point out Louis Michel Dupont is really good at controlling just like all the passing and just to eliminate every other thing. So when you have the ball, you are stranded and you can't do anything in that point. Because I've seen I think it was the game against the Manatees where the ball would be in deep and you're looking for passing options, and then Louis Shaw would just run in, tap beat everyone else, and then that person's all alone. They're looking for a reset, and you can't because no one's around in that point. Felix is good at this too, but
Yeah.
I think I played with Louis Shaw a bit more, so I'm biased and nitpicking. But I do want to throw out that name because it's not just intimidation factor making you bleed, but I feel just taking all away your options to feel utterly hopeless.
Yeah.
I think Louis Shaw is good at that.
Zach or Sam?
But then again, I'm a beater. I don't know anything.
We know all the things. We're the best.
Beaters don't know anything.
Yeah.
Quote it.
I see
tweet it.
dodgeball, I throw.
Chasers are actually our pawns, and we do everything. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many goals do you score a game, Sam?
I assist all the goals.
Zach.
I got one assist on that game-winning shot
with his
from
goal.
MLQ, so you shot.
Zach
Zach has a goal.
Zach constantly
I
bothers
have a
me
goal.
about, hey, I hit the ball in because of my bludger. I deserve a goal. I want to be on the scoreboard.
That was so
I
funny.
don't
Wow.
constantly bother you about it.
You bring it up every
But
once
I
in a while.
did score while playing beater, and it's my proudest achievement.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree. But
Yeah. My pick for best chaser beating is Ian Kahi, plays for Guelph, and he's kind of been a little bit in the shadows for the most part, and especially I thought he was really going to break out this year at regionals, and unfortunately broke his nose in the second game. It didn't get to, but Ian has a great arm. He's really accurate, powerful arm, and is really, really quick, so able to close the distance with his feet and just makes great decisions and reads the game really well, and is just an exceptionally talented beater and is a real problem for chasers, opposing chasers. There was a play from the Frosty Broom. I had Ian and Ethan playing on a line together, and it was I'm really glad I didn't have to play against that line because it's a nightmare in terms of their like speed, arm strength, range. And there's a play where Ian made a beat on a chaser, and Ethan had just been beat, and sort of saw where his rebound was going back towards our hoops, allowed his rebound to go back to hoops towards Ethan, and then went and pressed the quaffle. And it was just probably one of the best plays I've ever seen a beater make in terms of like field awareness and making great beats and decision making.
yeah, that pair I remember coming later in that day, and I saw that, and it was terrifying. It was one of I can't speak to like the beater strategy of how they would play against certain beater pairs or what, but from a pure like chasers like waffle player perspective, I just remember seeing that and was like, that is nothing but trouble. That's nothing but trouble for us. We are just gonna be in a constant miserable hell for every second that they're on the pitch together like that.
I felt like an evil genius putting them out there together. I was like on the sideline maniacally laughing.
Just being like, ha 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 ha. I forgot Ethan had the Guelph jersey. I was like,
Briefly.
ooh, that was a sight
Not
to see,
long enough.
man.
Not
That
long
hurt
enough.
me. It hurt me. What do I think? I had an idea. Oh, yes. Obviously, I mean, the person who's given me the most trouble over the last few years is Zac. That's what I think. I'm like, I'm excited to go against you, Zac, because I'm like, this is a challenge. Like, this is something that's like, if I come out on top of this, I'm like, wow, I did something really good, and then I always learn something from playing against you.
I feel the same way. Vice versa, Jim.
And then I also want to mention Jimmy from Queens.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy. He's definitely someone who can intimidate people. When he gets going, he's just like tapping. Like if you're on a really quick offense, like he likes like going fast, and can clear defending chases up pretty quick. And yeah, that's what I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jimmy's a menace on track.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I guess real quick, we go into our chill vibes only segment, and as you three impromptu decided, what's some of the favorite beater pair names or jokes or anything that you can think of off the top of your head for like nicknames or anything? Obviously, you have Sam Squared as a very solid choice, but you guys have any favorite plays or anything you guys want to think of inside beater like tactics that you guys want to share or point out?
Hey Nathan, do you remember Squiggly Kyle?
Somewhat, yeah.
Oh.
Made no sense though.
It worked. It worked. Oh, Squiggly Kyle. Do you guys want us to explain what Squiggly Kyle is?
I hardly remember how that works.
No.
Let's
not explain what Squiggly Kyle is.
Okay.
Sure.
No, I mean, sarcasm.
It's like improv, Sam. Always say yes. Always say yes.
And.
Yes, and.
It's just this joke that I think it was Matt and Mitchell made up when I was in my last year at Queens, and we were just practicing. And they're like Squiggly Kyle, and it's basically like a Bludger lost play. So you go in on offense, you go in with two Bludgers, but you intentionally miss by like just a little bit to make that person who you missed like run for the ball. They're gone getting the ball, and then you and your partner can attack like the one person left with the ball and just like steal their ball. Now you still have two balls. They're running for a ball, and you're just like, ha 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 ha, here I go.
So you bait out a throw on like the beater who has none, and then you just like, okay, haha, you're chasing it. We're gonna go after the other one.
Yeah, and it worked by accident because we were like, hey, we're not gonna purposely throw away a Bludger in a game, but we were playing that year, and Ethan and Rachel were playing, and Ethan did miss, but by accident, but also only by that much, and that person went to get that ball. Ethan tackled the person with the ball. Rachel beat them. They got those balls, and we scored. And I was sitting on the sidelines like, did we just run Squiggly Kyle? And we were all like, what just happened? So that was a good time.
Awesome. I like it. Okay, I guess we'll wrap it up there.
I got one.
You got one?
Yeah.
You got one, Shaggy?
I mean, I got one with Zach.
Shaggy and Zach.
I missed Shaq. I mean, I want to send you more Shaq memes, but there's no tournaments right now, so like, it's just that one time we
Shaggy and Zach.
Together.
Shaggy and Zach. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Who's Shaq?
We would start and play like a starting shift, and we had that big energy shift at the start of the USA game. That was huge. It felt really good.
Yeah, that was good. But I think a big missed opportunity was in my first year. I used to play with Felicity, and somebody else gave us the name of like Shag City. Because there was a song out of the time that just went like Shag City Snitch, Shag City Snitch, and I'm like, okay, I'm not that big. But then somebody pointed out to me it was our seeker Nick at the time, and we would joke around with Austin Powers all the time, and just like, you realize there's a character named Felicity Shagwell, and we're not capitalizing on it. Why are we not Felicity Shagwell. That is just too perfect.
That's good.
That's funny.
Oh,
That's really good.
I felt like an old man, and I'm almost 30 now.
So you've always been an old man.
What?
Well, yeah, because I used to hang out with a bunch of degenerate 18-year-old rookies, and I was 22, 23 at the time.
Oh,
I wasn't
jeez.
Steve yet, but
I think the song is Rack City by
Rax-
Tiger.
Sure.
it works.
Like, I don't know. I only listened to stuff that came up before 2007,
Specifically to
So,
those.
I like it though.
specifically October 4th, 2007.
Why?
That's when music went downhill.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Everyone knows music was perfected then. It's a scientific fact.
Oh, okay.
Anything, Zach?
Beyond Shaq, I don't know enough beater pair nicknames, but I think one of the most fun times I've had playing was when Ian and I played that whole tournament in crop top.
That was so funny.
That was funny.
I think that was the most fun. I forget. I think we had a name for it, but I can't think of it at the moment. It was obviously something to do with crop tops, but we did that. We did that for intramural soccer the year before, and we brought it to Quidditch.
Oh my god. Madness.
And had a blast doing it. And Kyle still hasn't made a rule yet, so we might bring it back.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
So funny.
I'm just reminded of World Cup 2013, where the entire crowd would yell at someone who was kind of wearing a crop top, "Pull your shirt down." That's all I can remember on that point. So I feel it would be disappointing all the old guard if I didn't mention that.
Oh my god.
I'm laughing internally.
Anyways, just want to say thank you guys. We'll start wrapping up from there. It's great to have you guys all on again, and hopefully have you on for something else if we can come up with another great idea.
Like that seeker beating one, because there's so many things you could talk about.
Sure,
on that one, right?
sure.
Talk about that forever.
Sure. Peter, take over. Peter, take over another day. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. You guys want to say anything to close out, or?
Thanks for having us, guys. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us. And you, Ottawa and Carleton, if ever you want somebody who knows a bit of beating, I can always show up and help when the pandemic stops.
You mean January 1st, 2021, where 2020 is just erased?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I feel like we're more in the 24th month of 2019. I refuse to acknowledge 2020 as existing.
Very fair. Very fair.
Oh.
Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys again for coming on, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah.